This particular country can attract visitors from all corners of the globe in ways that are somewhat unimaginable. And sometimes one might ask themselves, why and how did I get here?
The Philippines. You've heard it all before. A dream paradise. The food, the sunsets, the smiling faces. It's like a dream no one would ever want to wake up from. And sure, I've made my fair share of those videos because I get it. I visit and spend a good amount of time there. I really enjoy it. But I will no longer pretend like it's all sunshine and mango shakes. Because while some people fall in love with the Philippines and never look back, others, they get here, take one long, confused look around, and start questioning their life choices. I have friends that have lived here for a very long time. I've also known those who still can't decide if this is the place for them. And that's the thing. This country isn't for everyone. Some people show up with rose-tinted glasses so thick they can't even see past the weekend. They post their first impression pictures and videos talking about how this is heaven on earth, how it's so cheap, so friendly, so perfect.
You want to drink with us?
Oh, later.
And then Mr. Reality taps them on the shoulder and says, "Hey buddy, we need to talk, because no place is perfect, and the Philippines is no exception. Some expats thrive here, others pack up and get the hell out. The reasons? Well, I'll talk about that. First, there is the budget myth that won't die. Every other week there's some guru on YouTube telling you that you can live here on $500 a month, or $750, or $1,000. And sure, you can if your idea of fun is eating boiled rice in a 15 square meter studio while dodging cockroaches and battling a giant ant army invasion. But let's be real, the vast majority of people moving here from the West are not going to be happy living like that. They're used to a certain lifestyle. They like air conditioning. They like going out. They like, drinking something other than tap water. So they get here, reality hits, and suddenly they're in the Facebook expat groups ranting about how everything is so much more expensive than they thought. And then, just like that, they're gone. Off to their next budget-friendly dream, probably some other country in Southeast Asia or in Eastern Europe. The real number? If you want to live decently, not luxuriously but comfortably, you should be looking at $2,000 a month minimum. Anything less, and you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Now let's talk about the thing that every foreigner eventually complains about. Infrastructure. You land in Manila and at first everything looks shiny. Skyscrapers, malls, luxury condos. It's giving modern city vibes. And then traffic here isn't just bad, it's a personality trait. You sit in the back of your Grab, watching the same street vendor pass you for the third time, and you realize you could have walked faster. And Manila isn't the only culprit. Cebu? Some claim it's worse. And the thing is, the country is developing. There's construction everywhere. New high-rises, new bridges, new airports. But roads? Not so much. So while the skyline keeps getting taller, the streets stay just as clogged. If you're used to Western independence, this can be an adjustment, a deal breaker for some. The cultural wake-up call. Some guys land here expecting the Philippines to be like their home country, just with better weather and cheaper beer, and then they realize it's not. Things move slower, service is different, plans change. Yes doesn't always mean yes, and can mean anything from 5 minutes to 5 days. For some people, this is charming. A welcome break from the high-stress, hyper-efficient Western world. For others, it's enough to send them packing. And then there is the whole foreigner tax situation. You walk into a market, ask for a price, and suddenly it's way higher than what the guy next to you just paid. Some take it in stride. Others feel like they're being scammed every day. The healthcare reality? The Philippines has great doctors. The hospitals? That's a mixed bag. If you're in Manila, Cebu, or another big city, you're fine. But if you're out in the provinces and something serious happens, you better hope you can get to a major hospital fast. Some expats underestimate this. They think, oh, I'm healthy, I don't need to worry about that. Until they do. And that's when their health scare sinks in, and they realize they're not in Kansas anymore. For some, this is a wake-up call. They start looking into insurance, emergency plans, the whole deal. Others, they book a one-way flight back to wherever they came from. So why do people stay? Because for all the challenges, the Philippines has something a lot of places don't. It's fun. It's chaotic in the best way. It's unpredictable. It's alive. The people are warm and friendly. The lifestyle can be incredible, and if you find your rhythm here, it's hard to imagine going back. But it's not for everyone, and that's okay. Some people come, fall in love, and stay forever. Others take one look around and say, yeah, no thanks. And that's the real truth no one tells you. The Philippines isn't good or bad. It what it is. Some people fit here, some don't. Those who do, they get it. The ones who don't, they will leave. And if you're thinking about coming here, you should probably ask yourself which one you're going to be. You first think, paradise, here I come. Then you step off the plane, get that first wave of humidity, and then reality starts poking holes in your tropical dream. It's a slow burn, a creeping realization that maybe this place isn't everything the Instagram reels promised. Some people get past it, they adapt, they learn to laugh at the quirks, the frustrations, the slow-motion way of life. Others, they pack their bags and go back to wherever they came from, mumbling something about how they tried. The list of reasons why expats leave is endless, but let's go ahead and highlight a few. First, there is the infamous visa shuffle. The Philippines makes it incredibly easy to stay here at first. You roll in with a tourist visa extending every couple of months. You sit by the beach, sipping on a coconut, and think this is too easy. And it is, until it isn't. Eventually you hit that point where you start wondering, do I need something more permanent? And that's where the road gets a little bumpy. If you're not married to a Filipina, not running a business, and not old enough for a retirement visa, your options start looking pretty limited. So you start doing border runs, hopping over to Vietnam or Thailand every few months, feeling like a fugitive with a passport full of exit stamps. At first it feels like an adventure, then it starts feeling like a chore. Then one day you're sitting in an airport, eating overpriced fast food, wondering why you're playing this game instead of just moving somewhere with a simpler process. The fact is, there is no place that is more simple than the Philippines. Some guys get through it, they marry in, they invest, they figure it out. Others get sick of the paperwork, the uncertainty, and the nagging feeling that they're always just one bureaucratic mood swing away from being shown the exit. Then there's the relationship factor because, let's be honest, a lot of foreigners don't move to the Philippines just for the scenery. They move for love or something like it, and for some it works out beautifully. They find the one, settle down, and live happily ever after. For others, well, not so much. It starts with a whirlwind romance. She's beautiful, kind, full of life. It's exciting, new, different. Then reality creeps in. Maybe she's a little younger than he expected. Maybe there's a bit of a language gap. Maybe she has a family that sees him as a walking ATM. At first he's happy to help. A little money for groceries, a little extra for her dad's sick carabao, a small loan to help her brother start a business that somehow never actually starts, and before he knows it, he's in deeper than he ever meant to be and begins to feel hoodwinked. And then there are the guys who can't quite grasp the idea of loyalty working both ways. They assume they can live like a king with a girlfriend in every city and that nothing bad will ever happen. But the Philippines is small in ways that matter. People talk. And one day he wakes up to find his happy little setup has turned into an absolute disaster. Some men learn, they adapt, they build something real. Others, they cut their losses and leave, muttering something about Filipino women as if they're all the same, but they are not. Let's talk about business. Some expats come here thinking they're going to start the next big thing. Open a cafe, a bar, a resort, and technically they can, but only with a Filipino partner. And that should be a first red flag, but some will choose to move forward with clouded judgment. The whole foreigners can't own land thing. That extends to businesses too, unless you go through some serious legal gymnastics. So they set up shop, put their trust in someone local, and sometimes it works out. Other times, not so much. The stories are endless. The foreigner who built a thriving business only to get pushed out by his own trusted partner. There is that old joke that goes, "The best way to make a small fortune in the Philippines is to start with a large one." Then there is the guy who invested everything into a bar, only to have it mysteriously catch fire the second it became successful. Another reason for people wanting to leave is the weather. Yeah, I know. Tropical paradise, warm all year round, beaches everywhere. Sounds perfect, until you live here long enough to realize there are really only 3 seasons. Hot, hotter, and oh my God, is the world ending. And when it rains here, it rains. The streets turn into rivers, traffic grinds to a halt, and your nice little beachfront rental starts looking a little too much like a swimming pool. And then, just when you think it can't get worse, the power goes out.
You gotta be kidding me.
And not just for a few minutes. Sometimes it's hours, sometimes it's days, and if you live outside the big cities, it can be even longer. Some get used to it, they invest in generators, move to places with better infrastructure and laugh it off. Others decide they've had enough and book the next flight out. Then there's the little things. The death by 1,000 paper cuts kind of stuff. The everyday bureaucracy, the endless paperwork, the times you go to one government office only to be told you need to go to another, then back to the first one, only to find out they're closed for an unexplained holiday. The scams, the overcharging, the way prices magically increase the second someone hears your accent. The cultural misunderstandings, the way people smile and nod but don't actually give you a straight answer. The social expectations that are completely different from what you're used to. None of these things by themselves are deal breakers, but put them all together day after day, and they start to wear on you. Some people roll with it, they laugh it off, they adapt, they learn to love the madness. Others, they just get tired. They get tired of waiting in lines. They get tired of never knowing if the thing they're trying to do will actually get done. They get tired of feeling like an outsider no matter how long they've been here. And one day they realize they're done, they pack up, get on a plane, and leave. The strange thing, a lot of them come back. Because for all its flaws, the Philippines gets under your skin. The people, the warmth, the fun, it's hard to find anywhere else. So they leave, and then they remember why they came in the first place. And sometimes they give it one more go. Some expats show up expecting a highlight reel of their best vacation moments, stretched out into eternity. What they don't realize is that moving to a new country isn't the same as sipping cocktails on a 2-week holiday. It's life. Messy, complicated, unpredictable, and life anywhere, whether it's the Philippines, Thailand, or some little European town where nobody locks their doors, is always going to come with its fair share of headaches. They come, they struggle, they leave. Some find their way back, others never do. It becomes even more difficult with age. The reasons can be endless, and here is a few more of the biggest deal breakers. Culture shock isn't just a buzzword, it's real, and it hits people at different times. Some get smacked with it on day one, others don't feel it creeping up until they've been here for months, maybe even years. It starts small, a little frustration here, a little confusion there, and the older a foreigner is, the harder it will be to adapt. Why is everything taking so long? Why is nobody in a rush? Why does every plan come with an unspoken disclaimer that things might not actually happen the way they were discussed? Because the communication style is different, things can easily snowball. People don't want to say no even when they mean no. A simple yes doesn't necessarily mean agreement. Silence doesn't necessarily mean understanding. You ask for directions, and instead of someone telling you they don't know, you get confidently sent in the wrong direction because admitting they don't know would be impolite. Westerners are used to being direct. Filipinos, not so much. Here, confrontation is avoided like the plague. If there's a problem, it's not going to be handled with blunt honesty. It's going to be handled with smiles, nods, and a slow, quiet fade into non-existence. At first it's amusing, then it becomes annoying. It can become a full-blown existential crisis where you're standing in the middle of a mall waiting on customer service and wondering if you're the crazy one. As I mentioned earlier, some will adapt, others don't, and those who don't, they start looking at departing. They complain about the way things are done here. They compare it to their home country, when the Philippines never claimed to be an exact replica of wherever they came from. They get frustrated that the customer service isn't aggressive enough, that the workers aren't moving fast enough, that people don't seem to be in a hurry to get to the next thing. They don't realize that the Philippines operates on a different rhythm. A slower one, a more relaxed one, and that's part of why so many people love it. The guys who fight it, who try to force the Philippines to change instead of changing themselves, they burn out fast. They either become those miserable expats who sit around in bars complaining about everything but refusing to leave, or they actually do pack up and go. Then there are the guys who think moving here is going to fix them. They're running from something, a divorce, maybe a midlife crisis, the soul-sucking monotony of whatever life they left behind. They get here, and for a while it works. The excitement of a new place, the thrill of being somewhere so different. It's a dopamine hit of fresh experiences, and then it wears off because the problem was never their home country. It was them. They were unhappy before, and now they're just unhappy in a different location. Maybe they thought dating a younger woman would make them feel alive again. Maybe they thought the lower cost of living would take the weight off their shoulders. They looked to a new culture, a new language, a new city as a magic reset button. But if they don't deal with their own baggage, it follows them. It sits in their suitcase right next to their tropical shirts and their expired sunscreen, waiting to remind them that no matter how far they run, they can't escape themselves. They either put in the work to actually build a life here, or they leave. And when they do, they blame the country instead of looking in the mirror. Then there's the whole making friends thing. People don't talk about this enough. Moving somewhere new as an adult is hard. Filipinos are friendly. That's not the issue. The issue is that real friendships take time, and a lot of expats never put in the effort. They don't bother to learn the language, the culture. They don't immerse themselves. They stick to expat bubbles, hanging out with other foreigners, only going to places that feel familiar. And then they start feeling lonely. They miss the easy conversations they had back home. They miss telling jokes that don't require explanations. They miss the cultural shorthand with like-minded people who grew up the same way they did, and instead of making the effort to actually integrate, they decide the Philippines just isn't for them. And finally, let's talk about the ones who leave because they expect everything to be easy. Some people simply want the reward without the struggle. They want all the good parts of living in the Philippines without having to deal with the challenges that come with it. They don't want to deal with the heat, the bureaucracy, the different pace of life. They don't want to adjust to the new social norms, the different way of handling conflict, the fact that things don't always go as planned. They wanted a paradise where everything is catered to them, and when they realize that's not how the world works here, they leave. But for those who get past all that, who actually settle in, who embrace the quirks and the chaos, the Philippines has a way of sinking its hooks in. Because for all its challenges, there's something about this place, the people, the energy, the feeling that life here doesn't just pass you by. It happens to you. It shakes you up and knocks you around. But if you let it, the Philippines will reward you, and you will see the world a little differently. Maybe that's why so many who leave eventually find their way back. Because no matter how frustrating, how confusing, how wildly unpredictable life here can be, there's something about the Philippines that stays with you. And once it gets into your system, it's hard to imagine life anywhere else. As for me, I first arrived here in this part of the world at the ripe old age of 19, and over the years, I've developed a solid understanding of the culture, and after living in the Philippines and building a home there, I would be remiss if I were to say that it's a perfect life, and that is why we now live in Guam. Same friendly people, very similar culture, but with all the amenities that align me with comfort and all those expectations mentioned previously. I remain at a short arm's length to the Philippines, and will continue to visit as often as life allows. If you have enjoyed watching to this point of the video, chances are you enjoy our channel, so please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Let's hear what you think, and sharing this video, it would be a great way to show us some support.
If you like what you heard,
and even if you don't,
won't you please,
pretty please, subscribe. Well, I hate to beg and I hate to plead, but please, pretty